Welcome to Oulton Park. Here we are then, 2017 coming to a close. It's the penultimate round of the season, round 8 of 9. Here, Oulton Park, one-day event, double points on offer here for the HMT Racing Thundersport 500. The champ, Pete Bardell, crowned last time out, is not here, but second place in the championship is up for grabs. There have not been any other races here this weekend, so this is as it is in terms of second overall coming into this one. Josh Leaning, number 121, has a 40-point advantage over Graham Freer, number 191. And Graham Freer, as you can see, is on pole position as they roar away from the line. Front wheel in the air there. Roddy Taylor here, the senior rider, looking to try and get himself in the top 3 of the senior championship. What a start here from the Scotsman. Well, that was unbelievable. The Flying Scotsman away from the line into turn 1 here at Oulton Park as we head now downhill with Roddy Taylor. Blimey, is he riding an R1? This is unbelievable. Down the hill, he's made up about 20 places there in a couple of corners. Into Cascades we go. Steve Day here, Thundersport Syd alongside me. No Pete Bardell here today, Sid, so a good opportunity here for the rest to try and fight for a podium. And of course, as I just mentioned, there's still second place up for grabs. Absolutely.
Well, Graham Freer is really on it, as you know. Made a real good sweep of it at Anglesey. And as for the seniors, obviously, still got to be decided, although it's leaning heavily, we know, towards Adrian Teasdale. But Roddy Taylor there, unbelievable. You know, he got skittled off in qualifying, which put him in about third lap as qualifying, and put him back on 28th place. But, I mean, he proper aced the start there. Unreal riding. Well done, Roddy.
Through his we go then. The leader is Graham Freer from pole position up into second place. It looks like number 15, who was second on the grid. That is Tony Wastenage. Nice to see him back here in the Thundersport paddock. But yeah, still some championship positions to be decided. Of course, from here we go on to Donington Park for the finale of the championship. We now ride with Chris Jones, number 66, rider from Wakefield. He's heading through Druids now, of course, into the trees here. Looks like Matt Snow, that's just up ahead of him. The sharp end also we rode with Angus Goff earlier on. Now Angus Goff is still in the top 6 of the championship, but with no Will Leaning, there's an opportunity for both John O'Toole, number 27, and Angus Goff as well, number 17, to get themselves into the top 4 or 5 of this championship overall. Will Leaning not racing. Here is Angus Goff on board of him now in 4th place. Just up ahead of him there, that is Tony Wastenage, who has just lost a place. So
who was that grass track?
Yeah, that's John O'Toole.
Oh, was it John?
Yeah, John has just gone across onto the grass there. Not quite sure. That was a very good idea for him. So a bit of a shame. So then, around Cascades we go. All of these riders, there's about 38 of them that have started this race, and we've got freshmen out there as well on board with Paul Leonard, who's just lost a couple of places there. Number 21 going past him is James Lee. Now up towards Shell Oil's hairpin. Great overtaking opportunity. Now we should just mention the rider is in second place here. He is the freshman champion for 2017. He stepped up to the plate here at Oulton Park and he's running second. Adam Campion. What a ride here.
He's unbelievable, isn't he? Didn't he not qualify second as well?
No, it was Wastenage in second, I believe. But
okay. But yeah, he's unbelievable, isn't he? Yeah, he qualified third, you're absolutely right. Tony Wastenage was second, who's come from the 600 championship. He was in this a couple of years ago, or last year sometime. Had a go at the 600s, but it's a bit too expensive, as we know, and this is a budget championship. But yeah, Adam Campion, so he stayed in the freshman, sealed the championship, steps up to the elites, and wow, what a job.
Yeah, these guys are not a million miles off the lap record pace either, and as you can see, it's not exactly tropical here at Oulton Park. It's dry at least, but it's not that warm. They drop down into Lodge Corner. Freer it is that leads, and Campion there charging underneath Angus Goff, number 17. So really good rides, some particularly decent rides here from certain people at the latter stages of the championship. We get it so often. Angus Goff is one of them. He's been climbing the championship standings, and climbing through the field is this man here, Roddy Taylor, number 71. He, of course, now in the seniors, it looks as though, as provided Adrian Teasdale just finishes the race, number 34, he will be crowned Senior Cup champion. Now, with no Alan Tanton here, no John Bolsover, Roddy Taylor has a really big opportunity to try and climb up into second overall in the standings. And as Sid said, despite a rough qualifying for him, he's making headway.
It's really funny though, Steve, how that often happens, when you get for, a problem and it puts you at the back of the grid and you come through, it really seems to set you in a different wave of mind, and you keep going through even when you get to the front, and you're still really fast.
I think one of the reasons I believe that is because of not only do you have anger to deal with, because you're normally pretty angry that you've had a poor qualifying, but you know that you're quicker than where you qualified, and so there's no real limit to how far forward you go, because you don't know what your pace is, so you just look at everybody as a target, you look to overtake them, whereas if you qualify in a certain position, you might just suddenly think, well, this is my pace, this is where I'm at, I've got to aim for a top 10 or top 12, so that's, I think, certainly what's happening here for Roddy Taylor. The sky's the limit for Roddy at the moment.
It's like Brad Binder, and that came to mind, and one or two others at MotoGP level, particularly in the Moto3s, where they started. It didn't seem to matter where they started, why they bothered to qualify. I got no idea, but they came through and won races, didn't they? It's unbelievable.
Well, at the front of this one, a bit of a change, because Josh Leaning, who just got off to a slightly slow start, couldn't quite see where Josh Leaning had qualified. Actually, number 121. There he is. But he's now gone underneath Tony Wastage. Now, he of course needs to keep his eyes firmly peeled on that 191, the race leader Graham Freer. He does not want to lose second place in the championship to him. There he is, up ahead of Adam Campion, Angus Goff, and now Josh Leaning. Where did Josh Leaning qualify? Because I don't know if he just made a dodgy start or whether he's had some ground to make up in the early stages.
He's sixth.
Sixth, okay, well, mincing around in sixth, for Josh Leaning. But he's now managed to fight.
mention that to him.
He's now managed to fight his way up into contention of the top three. He'll need damage limitation here to Graham Freer. Double points on offer, I remind you, here at Thundersport. It's a one-day event, so crucial to not only see the checkered flag, but to get yourself up in that top 3 or 4. That's where the big points can be won and lost here. Around Britain's we go, over the crest of the hill. And then a short back straight, another fine overtaking opportunity before braking hard downhill into Hizzies. There is Josh Leaning just trying to eye up Adam Campion, the freshman champion. And I tell you what, if Adam Campion steps up to this full senior level, or say senior, elite level for 2018, he might well be one of the championship favourites.
My God!
Great racing there. You just saw
Jody Chalk,
Jody Chalk, yeah. Some fantastic battles going all the way through the field. Matt Snow as well. Now then, on board with Roddy Taylor. Just going up towards Druids then, over Clay Hill. There's Jody Chalk that Roddy's just gone underneath, so a bit of a Scottish battle going on there. And down into Lodge Corner, Josh Leaning has now got himself up into second. Now Graham Freer on the last couple of laps has just built up a couple of tenths per lap to give himself a lead. Josh Leaning then now up to second. Can he reel in Graham Freer, number 191? Of course, Graham, the rider from Winterton, caused all sorts of problems for Pete Bardell last time out at Anglesey and made him go an extra race to try and get the championship sewn up. But
the danger here, Adam Campion is right on Josh's back wheel, and he's liable to learn a lot from Josh. That looks like, he's going to learn a lot from the way Josh rides, isn't he?
Yes, well, he should do. But then he's up behind Graham Freer. I mean, he's punching above his weight anyway, isn't he, in this race? But he could learn a bit from Josh. I mean, the moment Josh has obviously got the hooks in here to Graham Freer, the pair of them now, the cream always rises to the top eventually.
Just as I was saying that, and that's why I paused, I thought so. It was amazing. Talk about commentator's curse. Angus, he just lost the back of Josh momentarily, and Angus Goff just like it was overtaking him there on the onboard. You know, and just as I was saying it, you know, I've knuckled someone again.
Yeah, Syd here in the commentary box at Anglesey had an absolute nightmare. If you hear him mention your name, then you'd better watch out, because he has got the commentary curse down to a T. Good battling going on all the way through the field. Number 21 there, James Lee, just trying to make sure that he can fend off Chris Jones and the likes. Here is Chris Jones, and we just saw the rider up ahead go past him, and he's about to be overtaken again over Clay Hill, a great part of the circuit there. Blind crest before chucking it right into a pretty daunting but fast right-hander Druids. Now, round Lodge Corner, over Deers Leap, onto the start, finish straight we go. These are your race leaders. 191 Graham Freer, 121 Josh Leading. They are second and third in the championship, and they are still fighting this one out. Number 194 there, late on the brakes as we ride with Chris Jones, but 191, sorry, not 191. Who was that? The 194, sorry, is just going through. It was Jordan Ashington.
Jordan Ashington, yeah.
With a great move. So this is a brilliant battle, actually, between these guys. These are all fighting it out inside, just inside the top 10 at the moment. So really good and interesting battle going on all the way through the field. All these guys having quite a bit of fun out there. Down into Cascades. A brilliant circuit, this, here at Oulton Park. Not everyone's cup of tea. It's so technical. Really demanding, lots of undulations. We now ride with Angus Goff, and Adam Campion will not be pushed away and out of this battle, although a bit of a moment there for Campion. Did he just miss a gear maybe? His foot off the peg, down into the chicane, and Campion cuts the nose there off Angus Goff. Up over the hill we go, but the drive should be with Goff. He's going to be your classic example of what Slipstream can do, even on these 500s with no fairings. Up the inside into Hizzies. Really tricky to get right, Hizzies, because it's so easy to miss your braking marker. Angus Goff there has got his hands full with the freshman champion, that's for sure. Somewhere in the middle of that pack is number 38, the mud wrestler, Mick Marshall. Oh, and just as I talk about him,
that's Steve's turn. Oh, down he goes. Let's see some more of that.
Down he goes. Mick Marshall, the mud wrestler.
.com.
There we go. He's trying to churn up the grass.
Yeah, punch the air. Look at that. Look. But at least look at that. Look, what a good boy. Clears up his own bike. Now he's covered in mud, a bit like a hippo, really. They're always happy when they're in the mud.
Mick, you can blame Syd for the replays of that. It's almost as if he knew that was going to happen.
Dear me.
Here is Angus. Here is Angus Goff.
Sorry, Mick.
Over Deers Leap then, onto the start, finish straight we go. This is the scrap for third place. Now, double points on offer. Angus Goff, as I mentioned, could still finish fifth in the championship. Behind these three riders, there you go, Campion 51, 17 Goff, and 15 Wastenage is John O'Toole, who's lapping pretty well, considering he went off for a track excursion earlier on in the grass. He can't really fight for these positions, but Campion here really is getting stuck in, trying to get himself a podium at elite level. Further back there is John O'Toole, up ahead of Richard Blunt. Nice to see Richard out there on the Equire MC Racing Honda. Of course, Richard, a former champion with Thundersport. He's won many Thundersport 500 races, one of the most versatile riders you are ever likely to meet. But he keeps himself busy, races in classic racing and all sorts of stuff. He's been doing some roads as well. Any time he jumps on a bike and turns up at Thundersport, you know that you're going to be in for a decent time of it with him.
I think he's just back from Oz, I think. Just been to Australia on holiday, I think, and he was still there for. He got enough brownie points collected to come and do this. His missus let him come and do this.
Oh, that's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it used to cost me bathrooms or three-piece suites or carpets or things like that, but obviously with him it's holidays.
I think it also cost you motorcycle racing in general, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, basically, you know what I'm talking about. Your permission to go racing was through a lot more than just kitchens. Bribery was included as well.
Well, that is the bribery.
Wow.
Keeping her indoors happy.
You still haven't got the lounge carpet sorted though, have you, Sid?
No, but I like the lounge carpet. Anyway, back to motorcycle racing.
Now, Graham Freer has broken Josh Leaning here at the front. Those two have gone through at the bottom of your screen. Here is Adam Campion, 51 up the inside of Angus Goff. This battle just will not go away. and Wastage there is there to pick up pieces. There goes your race leader and second place Josh Leaning. Leaning sort of waved the white flag, I think, and accepting second place. Here is Angus Goff then up the inside of Campion. This is the battle for third in the race. Old Hall corner, turn 1. And now downhill, here is your race leader Graham Freer.
These are long races as well. I mean, they're 10 laps. We only used to do 9 laps here at Oulton Park, and this is a 10-lap race. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of fitness and stamina required here.
Certainly is. Graham Freer, well, he's done very well, considering he's not had anyone to chase. It's all been about him going for it. Up into Shell Oils we go. And Freer it is that still leads this one. And this will be 50 points for him. Now, with Josh leading in second, he'll take a 10-point haul from Josh. So that would mean the gap for second is down then to 30 points going into this afternoon's race. He's having a good look over his shoulder there, Graham Freer. He can just knock it off a peg or two here. Doesn't want to completely roll off. We've seen it go wrong so many times before, but through his ease now, Graham Freer's got everything pieced together nicely.
I'm surprised that Josh has let this one go, I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I know he won't want to throw all the points away, particularly with it being double points, but I mean, he'll know how close Graham is to him in the championship.
Well, he will, but I suppose damage limitation here. If he feels like he's just stretching it a bit too far, he is the one that is being chased. After all, he's in control, if you like. We just see at the front of this pack is Adrian Teasdale, number 34, and we should wish him congratulations, because provided he stays upright now till the checkered flag, he will take the Senior Cup Championship. Graham Freer is going to be the race winner here. Race 1, Oulton Park, brilliantly done. Set the pace, no one could catch him. 191, 50 points for Graham Freer. Second across the line there is Josh Leaning, so he loses 10 points to Graham Freer, but still has a 30-point advantage in the race for second overall in 2017 going into race 2, which you'll see in a few moments. Angus Goff was in third place. Tony Wastage in fourth. Adam Campion in the end missed out on a podium. He was fifth. John O'Toole in sixth. Here are the top 3 then. Graham Freer, Josh Leaning, Angus Goff in the elite class, and in the seniors, congratulations Adrian Teasdale, race winner and champion of the Senior Cup, ahead of Brett Haley and Roddy Taylor. Mick Marshall goes for a plunge again then. Well, doesn't get old, that one. We'll be back with race 2 in a moment. So time for race 2 then. HMT Racing Thundersport 500s. On pole is Graham Freer 191, who won the earlier race. Double points, remember, again coming up here. 50 for him last time out. And so he's cut the gap down in the fight for second in the championship to 30 points to Josh Leaning. He's further back on row 2 there, 121. This is Tony Wastage, number 15. He'll be looking to now get himself on the podium. Adam Campion missed out last time, number 51, but fair play, he had a good crack at it. There is Angus Goff. He was on the podium in race 1. Look out for him. Adrian Teasdale on row 2, as well as Josh Leaning, the Senior Cup champion. And look out for John O'Toole, number 27, because despite that grass track moment, his pace was good. If he stays on the black stuff, he might be in with a shout here. Down into turn 1 we go there. A brilliant start from Adam Campion, and he goes straight up into the lead. I'm loving watching Adam Campion's rise from freshman champion here to really giving these guys something to think about as they drop down the hill. And Tony Wastage has made an aggressive start as well up the inside. He goes into Cascade, so brilliant stuff from him. Further back there is Jody Chalk. So good start further back. Paul Leonard as well, we just saw there. But look at them all here, spreading out. 5-6 abreast. Tony Wastonage through Island Bend. It's fast round there, and it's too fast. Random Campion. Oh, if he gets that stopped, he's a genius. It's not going to happen. It's so fast there.
Commentator's curse again.
I'm so
Steve,
sorry,
it's your
Adam.
turn.
It is today. I'm so sorry, but he is having a fantastic day until that moment. He was never going to get that stopped, in truth, but I have seen some horrendous accidents there in the past. He's probably best just to let that one go. Back to the race at the front, and what an aggressive start this has been. Some ding-dong in the early stages as all of these 500s fly through Britons. There's Wastonage then, the race leader. Then it's Josh leading, but he's coming under attack from Graham Freer. Then Angus Goff, number 13 Richard Blunt, 27 there, red, white and blue is John O'Toole, and there is your senior champion as well. So we've got the freshman champion and the senior champion also inside the top 8. Of course, the elite champion overall, not racing in this one, he doesn't need to, he's already wrapped it up, Pete Bardell. I'm sure he's probably enjoying watching it. There's a shake of the head from Adam Campion.
He's up and all right anyway, so that's the main thing, isn't it?
He's fine. Just going to see a replay of this. Onto the grass we go. He did his very best here.
He did, to be fair.
I'll tell you what, I mean, how on earth did he really think that was going to happen? I think he thought about maybe a speedway moment to ping it left and rejoin the circuit, but anyway, well done up until that point, Adam, and hopefully we'll see you back fighting soon. Through Lodge Corner we go, and up over the hill, across the line. The 500s. It is Josh leading that leads from Graham Freer. There's John O'Toole, we mentioned earlier, keep an eye out for him. Around Old Hall Corner we go. Down the hill then, into Cascades. Still it is.
Harold will be very happy if he could pull this one in at the front end, I tell you.
Old Steptoe.
Yeah. Well, I think in the qualifying, the reason he comes sixth, he's probably late to the qualifying because he was feeding Hercules. Oh dear.
Around Island Bend we go. Josh Leaning it is that's in charge of this one. And what rider was that? Lost a couple of places around the outside. Going into...
Why is he looking behind?
Heaven only
Of course
knows.
they're all there, Josh.
Angus Goff here is just losing 2 or 3 places. He's just had a bit of a messy lap here. Further back we're riding with Paul Leonard. He's embroiled in another battle there with what looks like James Lee. Here is your race leader. Further back in third there, it is just Tony Wastonage with number 13 Richard Blunt trying to find a way through, and does, neatly done there. Picked up Tony Wastonage. John O'Toole just behind them.
Now, between races, I saw Richard Blunt's bike on its side in pit lane having a new clutch. He was putting a new clutch in it, so you could, it might make a difference here.
Well, yeah. If he was riding without one in the race one, he would
well.
do
I mean,
well.
if it was maybe
if it was slipping
a bit,
yeah, absolutely. Well, at the moment he's up there, isn't he? They're all up there. It's a good pace being set as well. We're just over half a second down on the outright lap record, which was set a couple of years ago by Ben Coyle. Into turn 1 we go. These two, though, are just starting to slip away from the pack, aren't they? Just as they did in race 1. Josh Leaning, Graham Freer trying to build an advantage. Richard Blunt, though, is experienced in third. He might be able to bring a few to the party. Leaning it is that leads. So as it stands, with double points on offer, if the checker flag went out now, Josh Leaning would take a 40-point advantage over Graham Freer going into Donington Park with 4 races over there. So let's see how it all pans out in the end. Number 73, a bit further back there, Daniel Swift. But it's Josh Leaning and Graham Freer side by side. Of course, if Graham Freer was to get the better of Josh Leaning, then that's a completely different scenario altogether. John O'Toole has now got himself up into third place. And number 27, up the inside of Richard Blunt, of course, part of the trio endurance winning race team earlier on in the year at Donington. He'll be looking forward to his home round coming up in a few weeks' time for the finale.
Yeah, he'll feel well at home, won't he? Yeah, Team Clip and Climb. That's the new business that he and Emma, his wife, have got sorted out there. A lovely business.
Clip and Climb, that's the wall climbing.
That's it, yeah, you got it, yeah. Yeah.
Although you
Doing
could...
very well by all accounts.
The clip bit makes it sound like it's a hairdresser's, but of course the climb gives it away a bit.
Yeah, I mean the clip means that you hook
clipping
yourself onto
up,
a rope,
yeah, hook
so that
yourself
you don't
up
break
and
your
climb.
neck if you fall off.
And at the moment, he is climbing through the pack as Graham Freer now attacks for first place. Josh Leaning, his body language suggested he almost knew that that was coming at some point. Now Josh has got to try and stay on the tail here as Graham Freer. Across the line we go. Freer sets the fastest lap of the race at 55.7. with Leaning up in second. There is John O'Toole in third. O'Toole will be rueing one or two mistakes he's made this year. He's going to be in the fight to finish in the top 5 of the championship, but it could have been a top 3 overall had he not have made some errors earlier on in the year.
Yeah, he's a fast guy and he's proved that he can win.
Through Old Hall Corner, the rest of the field fight on. This battle for the top 3, incidentally, between Graham Freer and Josh Leaning. Nobody else can poke their nose in that business. Whatever happens, Josh Leaning and Graham Freer will finish second and third. It's just a matter of which way around it will be.
Oh, I was thinking for a minute there that Harold might have got those tyres off the car, and that was the reason for his demise of the front, but he has lost the lead again. But speaking of tyres, that does lead me on to, I'm delighted, Steve, to announce that I've just struck a new 2-year deal with Dunlop to continue on the Dunlop Alpha 13s, SPs and the wet variant, and for the next 2 years, 18 and 19, and they'll be pegged, the price will be pegged at £179 a set, supplied, fitted, balanced and including VAT. So I'm really chuffed with that.
Great deal.
Per set.
Great deal. Well done, Sid. And great to have
Thank
Dunlop
you.
still on board. Of course, they're brilliant tyres.
Obviously distributed by Mark Wright of HMT Racing, or Holbeach Tyres, of course, in the paddock.
Good stuff. Good to hear. So these guys, well, they know what they're getting with these tyres. Some of them will get an entire weekend on a set and maybe a few more rounds at that.
Some will get a season.
Some will get a season, or some will at least try to. Some will at least try to. And the wets, well, you've seen enough wet races this year to get an idea as to just how grippy the Dunlop wets are. Over the top of Deers Leap we go onto the start-finish straight once more, and, well, try all he might, but Graham Freer and Josh Leaning, first and second, but they cannot get away from this pack. Angus Goff now up to third.
See, I mean, look, there's a pack of 5 there really now, isn't there?
5-way fight for the race leads. Tony Wastonage has just dropped away from this one. Up the inside for Angus Goff, number 17.
Yeah.
Nicely done there. Now Josh Leaning will not want to lose too many places with Graham Freer at the sharp end of things. Not with double points on offer. Further back there we see once more number 21 James Lee. He's just up ahead of number 60 Liam Kirk.
He's shown flashes of stardom, that Angus Goff, hasn't he, the last few rounds?
Yeah, he really has. He's come on a long way. The rider from St Neots on the GFAB Racing Honda. He could be a dark horse if he's staying in the championship, of course. He could be a dark horse for next year. You see it so often, don't you, Sid? Over the, well, this is the 10th season Thundersport's been running, and at the end of the year, those riders that have just been sort of slowly creeping towards the podium, and then once they're there to stay.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing, definitely. I mean, you know, it's a self-belief thing, isn't it?
I don't know what's happening here to Josh Leaning. You mentioned tyres a moment ago, Sid, but Leaning has now dropped to 4th place, and all the while he's losing massive points to Graham Freer.
Huge points, yeah. Double points. I'm really quite surprised. I mean, I would imagine that it's a tyre problem somewhere along the line. I can't think of anything else unless he's got a mechanical problem.
Well, let's have a look at this then as we head down the sort of back straight that weaves from Druids down to Lodge Corner. Freer and Goff are away with this one. John O'Toole's in third.
Oh, blimey. I'll tell you what, Angus Goff looks like he would happily take the lead here.
Oh, I'm sure he would. Across the line we go. Angus Goff, in fact, his lap time there was brilliant. 55.7 himself. That's as good as anyone else has posted. In fact, only he and Graham Freer are lapping in there, and here he is then leading the race. It didn't take him long. Graham Freer, though, is not content with that. He needs the points. Now, just behind them, Josh Leaning is in all sorts of trouble, and Graham Freer thought about a move up the inside into Cascades, but the door was closed on him. Meanwhile, in the background, Josh Leaning struggling to maintain the pace here. Tony Wastenage in 6 is completely dropped away from the pack, unfortunately. He's not got a part to play, but Richard Blunt now is eyeing a move on Josh Leaning. So, back into the lead goes Graham Freer. There he is, 191. Second for Angus Goff. Then it's O'Toole. There's Josh Leaning. Look over the shoulder, and he finds Richard Blunt. Into Britain chicane we go. Now, if Leaning drops to the back of this group and Freer wins it, there'd only be a couple of points between them going into the final round at Donington. This could be a crucial couple of laps coming up for both Graham Freer, your race leader, and Josh Leaning. Bright yellow and blue colour scheme, 1-2-1.
A few rounds back, I bet Graham Freer, in his wildest dreams, didn't think he'd get a championship podium on this year.
I don't think he would have thought that a top 3 was viable, but a top 3 is the worst case scenario for Graham Freer, and I suppose that's a pretty good mindset to be in. There's number 129 further back, and that
Neil Attenborough.
Neil Attenborough, he's got some pretty retro Virgin Mobile Yamaha leathers there.
He is funny. Yeah, when he's on the podium, it's a job to find him. He's normally sort of nipped back to his van for a cup of tea or something like that. Left his bike and nipped back for a cup of tea.
They look like either replica or previous race-worn leathers by a British Championship contender. I wonder if they're Plater's old leathers or something like that. He might have nicked them, I don't know, but yeah. We'll leave it there, shall we? Back to the race then, and this one is alive and kicking at the front. Graham Freer is embroiled in a fight with Angus Goff. Further back there is number 97, that's Lee Howarth. Lee is up inside the top 8. There is James Lee, his name gets thrown about a lot more often here as well. Matt Snow's fighting out for the points. We saw Jordan Ashington a little while ago, but here we go then. It is Angus Goff up the inside into Island Bend. It's so quick round there, especially on one of these 500s.
He ain't scared, is he?
He certainly isn't. And there is Josh Leaning fighting again. He's just found a bit, trying to get up alongside John O'Toole.
Must be killing Josh, because he's sandwiched there between these two, and he can see these two having a mess about, and he knows, because they're knocking 7 shades of poo out of each other, he knows that he could be on them, but this is just stopping him. He just can't get through.
Josh Leaning just needs to try and finish at the head of that group. That's the best thing he can really hope for at the moment. And then, of course, he'll just pray that Angus Goff here, number 17, can fend off Graham Freer. The only problem I see here for Angus Goff is that, I don't know, Graham Freer just looks like he's got that little extra in the tank, and I'm not sure if you want to be in first going into the final corner, but we'll find out in a moment. There is Matt Snow up ahead of number 194 Jordan Ashington again. This is the battle for 9th place. Someone's just going straight on. It's James Lee. He's just gone straight through, so his battle for the top 10 has just come to an end. Here we go then, and Graham Freer in the meantime has fought back through to the lead, which must have happened either around Hizzies or into Druids. Over Deers Leap again we go. The top 2 across the line, and now Josh Leaning has fallen to the back of that group.
Oh my goodness.
5th place for Leaning. John O'Toole and Richard Blunt around the outside into Old Hall Corner.
Fearless.
Brilliant stuff there from the former Golden Era Superbike champion. We're on board now with Chris Jones, number 66. Some interesting lines going on here up ahead of him. There's Jody Chalk. Blimey, they're weaving all over the place. They've been watching videos of Batner, I think, online. Oh, Batman's lines taken through there, weaving all over the place. But Chris Jones at the moment trying to keep himself inside the points. Brett Haley in amongst them as well.
He's got some flash looking leathers as well, hasn't he, old Brett?
Certainly interesting, aren't they?
You know who it is when you see him out on circuits.
Well, yeah. Now, Josh Leaning's had another look over his shoulder.
Oh, here comes John.
John O'Toole, Richard Blunt. This is the battle for 3rd. Josh Leaning is concerned here. Why would you look over your shoulder at this point? He can't be settling for 5th. If he is,
almost every lap he's looked over the shoulder exactly there. But maybe it's a habit. You know what habits are like.
Now then, has Angus Goff got anything left here for Graham Freer, who has gone through to the lead and on this lap just seems to have managed to pull a 10th or so away? This is going to be huge. As it stands, checkered flag goes out now. There'd be 2 points between Josh Leaning in second and Graham Freer in third. There is Howarth again. He's in 8th place. Up ahead of these guys is the senior champion Adrian Teasdale, and of course Tony Wastenage. There's Roddy Taylor, number 71. Daniel Swift, number 73. Roddy Taylor's up inside the top 3. In fact, in this race, Roddy Taylor, with a finish, is going to move up to second overall in the senior standings. Last lap flag is out. If Angus Goff has ambitions of spoiling the party for Graham Freer, he's got a lap of this Oulton Park circuit to do it, and he's got a bit closer. Across the line we go. Freer has a look over his shoulder. I'm afraid, Graham, you have not dropped Angus Goff.
Face full of Goff.
Down into Cascades. There's one overtaking opportunity gone, but Goff has resorted to the wider line, which might get him on the power, as he just made a bit of a mess of that. He's looked over his shoulder now as well.
What did he put his arm up for?
I fear he might have just made a bit of a hash of Cascades there. Now, he'll do well to catch up Graham Freer from here. Around Island Bend, braking hard into Shell Oils. Graham Freer's got a couple of bike lengths. Further back, Josh Leaning has now moved his way up into 4th place. If he could get 3rd, that would be damage limitation. Towards Britain Chicane we go. Further back, we're looking here at Chris Jones, Jody Chalk, and Brett Haley. Onto this short straight before we move into Island Bend, and a lovely move there from Chris Jones up the inside. Back to the front. This is Graham Freer, and I don't think, unless Graham makes a mistake now, that Angus Goff is going to be able to do anything. It was a mistake into Cascades for Angus Goff that might have just cost him victory. Either way, it's a great ride from him. There's Elliot Humphrey, number 2, up ahead of number 68, Clive Mindham. These guys are just outside the top 20 at the moment, and what's going on there? There's smoke coming out of one, a rider going on straight. This is Thundersport 500 at its finest. It's all going on there. But this is your race winner. What a day it has been for Graham Freer. Double points on offer, double points taken. The checkered flag goes out, and Graham Freer will win this one. And he will cut the gap in the championship to what? We'll find out in a moment, where Josh Leaning finishes. A win for Freer, second for Goff. Oh, and Leaning's at the back of the field. And that means that with O'Toole in 3rd, Blunt 4th, and Leaning in 5th, that we will go to Donington Park, the final round. And there will be just 2 points between Josh Leaning and Graham Freer, with 100 available. Tony Wastenage in the end couldn't hold on to the top 5. He finishes in 6th, but still plenty to play for at the final round 9 at Donington Park next month for these guys. Top 3, there you can see Graham Freer, Angus Goff, and John O'Toole. And in the senior, the champion, recently crowned Adrian Teasdale, ahead of Brett Haley and Neil Attenborough. Marshall's Rider of the Day award went to Elliot Humphrey for this. He crashed going into the last corner, and just to make sure that he didn't finish last, he pushed his bike across the line and promptly collapsed afterwards. Marshall's rushed to him to give him some water. We understand that
he didn't crash, he broke down.
Oh, he broke down, sorry. We saw the smoke coming out, but he's going to be releasing a new fitness video in the coming weeks. Pete Bardell, then, we know is champion, but look at that, 2 points. Josh Leaning, Graham Freer, that goes to the final round. Very close for 4th as well, just a point between O'Toole and Goff. In the seniors, we know that Teasdale is the champion. Tanton at the moment, he does just hang on to 2nd, despite the fact that Roddy Taylor will probably take that one when we get to Donington. In the Thundersport 500 freshman, a good day for Adam Campion despite the tumble. He is the freshman champion, ahead of Stephen Shrubsall and Ryan Meaden. That's it from us here at Oulton Park in Cheshire. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you at the final round at Donington next time.